Welcome to Creativity with Don Allen III Live. Today we're jumping into AI-generated videos. We're going to be sharing some pretty crazy examples involving celebrities and their mugshots being turned into AI videos. And I'm going to talk about what some of these risks are, what are the implications of technology like this, and also provide some strategies for how you can stay safe. So we're going to jump right in. So welcome to the stream. It should be a pretty weird one. So I just saw this information just like a few minutes ago. So it's kind of like live reporting on this. Look at these videos. So what you're seeing in the first frame is an actual mugshot of a celebrity. These happened. But what's really weird is the video that you're seeing is actually fully AI generated. So the video did not happen. And the video can have stuff added to it. For example, a baby being held in the hands here. Let's go to another one. So again, the original mugshot was correct and real. It's a real photograph. But then what you're seeing now is an AI-generated output where somebody instructed the video to have the same person eat ice cream. Let's do another one. Again, the mugshot was real, but then the video that you're seeing right now did not happen. The camera didn't zoom in. Michael Jackson didn't hold their hand like this over their mouth. This part did not happen. This video didn't happen, yet look at how convincing this is. Again, same idea. I'm just showing you a few of these examples. These are all videos that did not happen, but the original photograph did happen. And then we got this one. What on earth? So what's interesting is that I just want to point out how convincing these look, because without critical view or critical eye on this, you might think a lot of these things are real. We got a question from Rashab, says, these videos are made by which software? I think it's Kling, spelled K-L-I-N-G. I think it's currently available in China. If you're a Chinese resident, you can use Kling. I don't think it's widely available. But again, all these videos that I'm showing you right now are generative. So they didn't happen. And what's, so the reason why I'm bringing it up right now is I'm happy to see that this is happening and being shared right now so that people can actually start having a conversation about it. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about what is the technology that's behind these videos. So what it's doing is a lot of these AI systems now that are doing text to video or video to video or image to video, what they're able to do is kind of, the AI model creates a model of the world it thinks the future will look like, and then it can interpolate frames to get to that outcome. So I don't know for sure, but I can give you a high-level description of how they probably did something like this using this text-to-video tool. What they might have done is they started off with an input image of this person, and then they found another image of a person drinking orange juice, and then set the first one as the first frame and then asked the video to be turned into the second frame. That's one way of doing it. But increasingly, all you really need to do now is just give it text. So you could just start off with the original mugshot photograph, and then from there, you can just describe in text what you want to have happen. So you would maybe say things like ambient movement of a person in a mugshot holding a baby. And the AI model could take that very simple text prompt and add those details. Pug says, is this bad used AI generated video? What do you think, Dong? I do think this is bad. I think this is very bad. In my opinion, this is part of the reason why a lot of the AI models that are, I guess, more regulated are not being shared widely with the public. But this doesn't actually stop anybody from, in other regions, with different sets of laws and regulation, it doesn't really stop them from releasing AI models themselves that do the same things that other AI models are regulated against. So yeah, I'll be honest, I think this is very bad. Only good I'm seeing in this is the fact that these images are happening of celebrities, and people, I think, recognize celebrities and really care about celebrities. I think because that's the context of the AI generated outputs, I think a lot of people are going to care. And I think if enough people care about the problems, my hope is that this actually expedites the conversations around how do you regulate a tool that does stuff like this. We can't really control the influences, not directly. But again, all of these videos look so real to me. So the risks here, let's talk about risks and ethics. So the risk here is misinformation and defamation. And what I mean by that is we have like increasingly video driven world right now where like lots of people get their news, their information about the world, connecting with friends and family through video. So if we're now in a time, it's Saturday, July 13th, where video can look this realistic and yet have never happened, what it risks is we just won't have a ground truth anymore. When I made my short film Beyond Our Reality with in partnership and collaboration with OpenAI, that was using the technology called Sora. And part of the reason why I named the film Beyond Our Reality is I think that's where we're at right now. I think we're no longer going to have realities that are universally shared and universally accepted. In fact, I think it's not about our reality, it's about beyond our realities. That was why I named my short film that. Because this is not about our reality. Because honestly, even myself, someone who's actually using AI tools often, has a visual effects background, I wouldn't have known that these were AI generated, even after a couple like glances. I only knew because of the context of where I was seeing it. So the misinformation risk it's probably never been higher. And these are just videos. This can also work with audio, and it also can work with text, and it can work with images. So yeah. So in this section, I want to talk about risks and ethics. Defamation is also another risk. So defamation, the idea of getting people to say and do things that they never did, and I'm in a negative way for doing these things that they've never done. So I don't think that this happened in a mugshot, yet here it is. So the problem here is that this is going to create a very blurry line between what is real and what is not, which I might have already been true. I guess the difference now is it's just easier to make a non-truth feel perceptually true. It's easier now than it was before. That's the kind of big difference. The other risk here is public perception. So I think a lot of societies have to come up with ways of creating agreements. And in my opinion, this is going to make it hard for a public group to have the same opinion when there can just be so many variations of the truth shared, so many different variations. And I just think what this does is it makes it so that there's not a shared public interest anymore. There's rather going to be lots of different perceptions from the public. And I think this is a problem. Rishab asks, so there is no way to control it and might even take jobs from junior and background actors as well. Right. So there's a way to control it. I'd say there is a way to control it. I'll get to that in a few minutes. I have some ideas, too concrete, but I would like to share some ways to control it. The keyword is regulation, I think. But go back. Okay. The other thing is, got a question from Pug says, stricter rules here in the USA or in global warnings cause at the moment we got mixed feelings at the period of time. Right. So it's not like a hive mind that represents the values of all earthlings. Maybe we need that in order to come up with a solution of all these different beliefs and ideas and perceptions, and they're all kind of with each other. We got another question from Pug says, there's some people are like AI music isn't real human to me. I use it as a tool to make people feel better about themselves. And for me, I use it to experiment new stuff out there with the multimedia. Right. So, that example, when you have AI generated music, it has lots of different use cases. You're going to use it for, expression. Some people will say it's stealing. Some people say it is plagiarism. Some people will say it's not. It's like I have all these different views around the same technology, which makes me think that there's going to be a continued splintering of realities. We got a question from Motion Artist 007. They write, sir, I have made this environment in Unreal Engine. Oh, that's not a question. but that is cool. And Unreal Engine are a great tool for creativity. We got a question from Keon Ashley says, what are your thoughts on developing a coffee of ethics around AI use? Are there any systems out there currently that that measures or assesses the ethical use of it? There's frameworks out there, but even ethics aren't universally shared by everybody because there's so many different philosophies. So like, think about it. There's not one shared ethical philosophy for everything. So there are going to be thoughts on how you develop ethics around it. But I think what's going to happen even in that is you're going to have all these kind of philosophical thoughts on the ethics. What I mean? Because it will also be decided by the philosophy. If we made a set of standards on what are the ethical practices, what's weird to me is the word ethics is used a lot when talking about AI. And they say we need to have ethical guidelines, ethical standards. But the problem with that is there are so many different ethical philosophies that have completely different frameworks on the right and wrong actions of things. So we're in for a pretty bizarre time. And my goal here is kind of bring some of the awareness, hence just kind of doing a live stream right in the moment. Want you to understand the capabilities and the risks, and now, talk about some strategies for safety. So there are some strategies that I can suggest right now for safety. And one of the first ones is called secret handshake. You have loved ones that you often receive text messages or phone calls or video calls from, loved ones like family and friends. What I would encourage you to do today, if you want to be more safe with regards to a lot of these AI generated outputs, if you want to be more safe, what you should do is come up with a bunch of secret phrases and secret passwords with your friends and family that you only know with each other, and you use to verify that you are the you that they think you are when you're communicating with them, not in person. So let me give you an example. Let's say I make a code word, Bob7. If I use Billy Bob7, I tell that to, let's say, like my aunt, and I want to make sure that my aunt and I, when we're on the phone call, I know it's her and she knows it's me. If I get a call from her and I want to just verify that it's her, I could ask her, what's our secret passcode? What's our passphrase? And if she's like, what are you talking about? Then I'd be like, oh no, you might have been an AI generated on my phone call, and I'm probably not going to continue to share information with you until you pass my passphrase. Otherwise, we can meet in person. Also should create this now for video. So that was originally when there was just easy audio deep fakes and the ability to clone audio was very simple. But now what I'm saying is you need to do this for video. So it may be a secret handshake. I don't know how old you are, but like elementary, middle school, if you ever had a physical secret handshake with like a classmate or a friend, maybe you went like, backhand, whatever, did this. A pretty hard thing right now for an AI model to do repetitively. And so it might be helpful if you're on a video call with somebody who's asking you information that might be against you financially or for fraud or for scams. If they ask you a question, you can just ask them in the video call, what is our secret handshake? Show me our secret handshake. And then they hold the phone to their hand and they replicate what the secret handshake was that you came up with together. And I think you should create a practice where you do this in video with them when you need to verify. Again, that's super hard to do. Like, I asked this, got a video call from Lindsay Lohan, and I thought this was really her. And let's say we were friends and we went way back. And luckily, let's say we were smart and we had a secret handshake. I would ask her in this video call, and I'm pretending I'm in a video call with her, and I would say, Lindsay, is that you? And then maybe she would say, yes, that's me. I'm like, cool. What's our secret handshake? And then if she wasn't able to reproduce that in video, I would know that the video was falsified and not her. So again, for those just joining, all the videos that I'm showing you right now are all AI generated videos, but the first frame, I think, were original mugshots of these different celebrities and people. So I'm trying to share right now. We talked about some of the risks. We talked about tech behind it, and now we're in the part where I'm sharing some strategies and some safety tips that I've come up with and that I've heard from others that are navigate this world where we can have these fake images and fake video and fake audio that just sounds perfect and real. All right, so the next one is oldie, but if you're using the same password on your devices, you need to stop that right now. Like, you need to have a custom password for everything. I don't know how I can stress this more. It's like you're using the same password for everything. You're just making it easier for to happen, easier for scams to happen. And if you don't care about you, that's fine. But also, you put people that you communicate with, you put them in harm. One of my family members was recently tricked into giving a lot of money to a person who was pretending to be another family member. And they were tricked, and they had to do the whole thing. They reported it. And what was really disturbing was person called a relative, and they said that they got into a car accident and that their jaw was damaged. So it was making it difficult for them to talk. And they said, they needed money to help pay for their hospital bills, and they needed that money to be sent immediately because they can't pay for it and they're in so much pain. And person, our family member, actually tried to send them the money. But luckily, the only reason why that didn't happen, it didn't go through, was the person called them by a name that they'd never go by. But it was what their legal name was. So their legal name was something, but that's not what they would go by when they're talking with family. And that was the only clue she was given to know that the person that was on the phone pretending to be a grandchild was actually not her grandchild. It was, in that case, they weren't even using much of AI. That was just like a actor pretending to be someone. But now with AI, you can actually sound identical to your grandchild. It can sound identical. The training for the AI audio clones only needs about 5 seconds of audio now. Oh, we got a question from Nintendo Lady. Nintendo Lady writes, Meta and IG are now allowing politicians who were banned for spreading false info and deepfakes in campaigns with a few months away election. It seems this will only add to current unregulated problems. Yeah, I see what you mean. Because what will happen now is a video like this can happen of someone doing a crime. Let's say this is a crime that this celebrity did, and this video shows them doing the crime. They actually did the crime in real life. That celebrity can now say, that wasn't me. That was an AI-generated video of me doing the crime, and I am innocent. Allegedly. You know what I mean? So, just take the video in court. I wonder what this is going to do to photo and video-based evidence in courtrooms, which used to use photos and videos as like a ground truth. They would say, oh, look, we got this on video, therefore it happened. Now, we're going to see a video and say, cool, you got this on video, therefore it might have happened. That's a very big difference with the same, with similar mediums, right? So yeah, I guess video did not happen. Just the first frame was an original mugshot, and then all the other stuff that you're seeing is not real. Okay, talk about other things. Search for calls, identity early on. Another thing that we might want to explore is biometric verification. So a weird one, but I have an Apple Vision Pro, and I use it for almost like a laptop replacement. You can have you float different screens around you. It really helps with a lot of my nerve pain, being able to sit at different angles and not being forced to sit in a certain way. But the reason why I bring it up is they have a feature called FaceTime, where you can FaceTime with other people wearing Vision Pros or with other people that have an iOS device. And what I find really fascinating about something that Apple did there was this feature called Optic ID. And in order to run my Vision Pro and use my avatar that Apple calls them personas, you have to have my iris scan. So right now, I know this is like a really weird example, but right now when I have a video call with another person wearing a Vision Pro, I definitely know it's them, because I know in order for them to be in the shared persona space where I see their floating persona and they see mine, they had to wear a device that scanned their iris that says them in order to be even operating the persona. And it made me think that maybe part of, I mean, a little too expensive, right, for like use, but maybe that's a glimpse of what the future of phone calls and video calls might need to be in response to the high volume of fake and generative stuff. You basically say, I don't accept phone calls because you could be an AI generated video call. I only take calls as personas because, at least with a persona, you have to have an optic ID. And then maybe in a few years, we'll find a way to clone that. And it'll just kind of continue. But I'm hoping it'll evolve. And then maybe by then we have neuro IDs. So we could take like what if there's like an aura around the way your brain, I don't know. I'm kind of just brainstorming out loud here. But what if there was a way that your neurons and you can electroactivity from the surface of your skull with electrodes? You can use EEG sensors that can put on the outside of you. They don't have to go inside of your body. They can be worn on the outside, and they can read signals and data coming off of your brain waves. In other words, your brain waves can be detectable on the surface of your scalp, and also around your wrists, and even I think a little bit in your fingertips. And so one idea I had for maybe in the far future, for looking far ahead, and we want to really know it's somebody, maybe there'll be a neuro ID that creates a unique signature of every person based off of the way their bodies emit electromagnetic radiation while their neurons fire and process. And if there was a way to create a unique identifier for every single person's neurons, then that might be a way that you could do verification of authentic communication when you're not in person. The other solution is we just go back to having more physical in-person things. Like right now, I haven't seen any robotics that are Westworld quality yet. World is a science fiction show that has like robots that are designed to look and feel basically identical to humans, with skin and flesh and muscle and heat and sweat, all the things that make a human body. The good news is, as of right now, I have not seen any robotic system capable of a Westworld quality robot. And what that means is that before that exists, there's this time where if we want to prove human verification of what we're seeing and hearing and experiencing, there's going to be a tremendous value right now in in-person events, in-person experience, dinners, concerts, art galleries. Might be another thing that might switch. If you're so worried that someone's going to be a synthetic video of a person, we might say, you know what, we only accept this meeting is going to be covering a level of information that's so risky that we're only doing this in person. And then that might also be another solution that comes from this need. We got another question from Nintendo Lady. Says, AD was hacked again. I use biometrics and worry that my print could be compromised. Good point. If a mesh ID could be added to account and social media apps so that not compromise two-factor authentication. Good idea. I guess you could do something where there's enclave on a device that you hold locally that uses biometric verification. Then maybe it can code that data with homomorphic so that the party making the software doesn't even need to see all the information, but they could still verify you, and then using that hardware as a sign-on. That might be a thing. Another solution, which I kind of don't want to say out loud because I would be frustrated by it, but it might be necessary, is friction. Right now, a lot of friction to faking a passport. So right now, a passport is still a very good metric for verification because it's so hard to get one, and the procedures have so many human steps involved that in order to fake a passport, it's just very complicated. And thereby, presenting a passport or an ID is a very useful metric for verifying that they say they are. So I don't know how to do that when it comes to like representation, but if we found a way to add more friction to verifying your humanness, thought that's what the direction was going to go with the verification icons in different social media apps. In order to get verification, like they have paid verification now on in that Facebook. Yeah, they have a paid verification service. And in order to get that verification badge, you have to scan an ID and like forgot what it is, but it's like it's a piece of physical verification that is hard to obtain. And so what's interesting about that is if you kind of that system, you might create a world where you will authentically know who somebody is online. The problem, though, is you have a world where you're requiring biometric verification. Then it does remove a lot of the anonymous nature of being and exploring, which then kind of stifles freedoms, right? So we got a question from Hug 3D. They write, what if AI models can reproduce our thoughts through that electromagnetic neurosignals and our thoughts are not private anymore? That's a good point. I wouldn't rule it out at this point. There's a good chance that someone could, it's just data. Essentially anything that we can recreate digitally at all is at risk. Like right now, I have my hands in the frame, but what you're seeing is not my hands in your front of you. What you're seeing is pixels that are being rendered on your device. Those pixels, like the colors that you can pick from, and you can write those 16 million different options into whatever the resolution is of your device. That is the only thing you're seeing right now. There's no, which I can do right now to prove that I was not an AI system. What I try to do in live streams is I keep reading the comments and checking in. I think that helps kind of prove my humanness. Might help. That's kind of like a thing, like, making real time. But even that can be, be modified with the same, Unreal Engine that we discussed earlier today. So we're in for just a weird ride. I don't know what's going to happen. My fear is we might almost be forced from all this chaos of not knowing what is real and what is not. We might be forcing ourselves into a world where we have no privacy. Because, like, I'm just trying to think about, I guess we kind of don't have any privacy now. If you use internet, I don't think you really have privacy. And most people I know use the internet. So maybe that means most people I know don't have privacy. So I don't know. We could go back to more offline living. We can go back to more dumb devices. We can go to more off-grid living. But even that, like if you're using Wi-Fi, yeah, I guess I know. I haven't thought about this too deeply yet. I got to do some more thought. We got a question from Rishab. Rishab asks, it would be scary awesome if you post tomorrow that this was totally AI. Oh my gosh. Oh, that would be funny. You don't know. Let me take a look. I'm in a group chat right now that's also talking about this, so I'm just going to take a quick look at that group chat. Let me see if there's anything that we can highlight in here. Oh yeah, so the tool that they used for these videos that I'm showing on screen is called Kling, and you can find out how to get access to it. But gosh, it's going to cause, I think the particular use of an AI video generator is particularly harmful because it's like wrong with AI models, in my opinion, is being done in these videos. The only good is that it to basically make a conversation about it. We got a question from Malik C. Writes, the idea of privacy's goal post has been pushed so much further nowadays as the idea of normal privacy has been pre-internet age. I guess I don't understand that. Well, I can some information with you that might freak you out. We're already there. I have a kind of a tech, but I also want to have a critical one. So I do need to share this with you. There's been a technology that's been available since 2009. Uh, sorry, at least 2019. No, or probably earlier than that. I only learned about it in 2019. A team of researchers at a university found a way to recreate a volumetric pose estimation video of people in a building just using the raw data of their Wi-Fi signal fluctuating. So I'll explain that here. I think I did a bad job explaining that. So there's how it works. You know how Wi-Fi router in a building when you want to connect to Wi-Fi, and you know how you have some spots in that building where you have a great signal, and other spots, even if you just turned a corner, you'll have like a really bad Wi-Fi signal. So that is called like interference. You know, when you have an object in front of your router between you and the receiver, that object is like from the signal. And so the team of researchers had an idea about this. They said, what interference is caused to your Wi-Fi router when a human walks through a building, walks through a room, walks or sits down or does anything? And what they did to train an AI model, so they built a little AI system with two different videos, filming a room. So there's like windows so the cameras can see into an office. They basically made a pseudo building, like living room space with furniture and closets and regular stuff in a living room. They then had two cameras filming both sides of the room so that 100% of the time there would be video footage of this room. And this is just for the researchers. This wasn't like spying. They're doing research to see if they could build an idea from this thought. So you have two cameras. They're filming the room from all angles. And then what they did was at the time as people walking around in groups, they had people walk in and do stuff throughout the house. They were recording the Wi-Fi signal in the building fluctuated. The subtle changes in Wi-Fi from a human person walking through it and basically being an interference pattern. Not being an interference to the Wi-Fi signal. And when they did this enough times, they were able to teach an AI to guess with a lot of accuracy what the person or people were doing in a room just by looking at how the Wi-Fi signal changed over time. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, who has access to our Wi-Fi signals? And I was thinking about it even longer, and I'm like, oh my goodness, our internet service providers. Wouldn't that be the craziest conspiracy? If you used internet and used Wi-Fi, you basically had 3D volumetric cameras inside your house all the time. It would be like you'd never had privacy ever. It would just be like you're on camera. Now it's not like it's producing photos or pixel data. It's producing a skeleton, a rig, puppet. It puppets like motion capture of all the people, how tall they were, what direction they were looking, what arm was being held up, what were they standing, were they seated, were they leaning back? You could see all of that from just looking at how the Wi-Fi signal changed in their living room. Pretty nuts. So like that's existed. Learned about that in 2019. I guarantee it was probably a lot older than that. It's kind of like LiDAR scanning and like creating a representation from LiDAR, but using Wi-Fi as the point cloud generator. We got a question from Malik C. Says, it's like the normal privacy in the 80s is so far away from privacy today because cameras are everywhere and personal info is given excessively in order to use apps and other services. Yeah, you're right. It is very different. I mean, it's a completely different world. We got a question from the Dork Knight Might. They wrote, NAV Navtech was researching that at their facility of Elston Avenue back in 2010. Wow, 2010. Okay, I didn't know that. Rishab writes, I made an AI-generated video for a marketing campaign in which I cloned the voice and did the lip syncing. That campaign was a huge hit. So should we continue to learn AI tools? I would say yes. I mean, I was using and teaching new, cutting edge tools. I would just say be aware of the harms. If you're going to use them, be aware that they can be misused like this. We got another question from the Dork Knight Might. Says, using dense Wi-Fi mesh networks to map organic matter relative to non-organics. Yeah, and honestly, if you just increase the frequency of the hertz, you can get a much higher resolution output. So if we from 5G to 6G networks, you might have an even higher fidelity pose estimation and body prediction algorithm than our current models. So I think like the current one I saw, it couldn't discern what fingers you had. It would just be kind of like a nub, from its system. It didn't have the wavelength wasn't. I think the wavelength was wide enough that it would wrap around. It wouldn't differences between fingers. But just think about it. If this was the wavelength, it's going around. But if you wanted to see the fingers, you just increase that wavelength to be higher, just a higher frequency, and then it would be able to discern differences between, tighter spaces. So just for thought. Okay, we got some more questions. The Dork Knight says, don't spill beans. I don't get it. What do you mean? We got another question from Malik C. Writes, also heard a conspiracy before that there's a shadow agency that's wiretapped to conversations near smartphones connected to the net. I mean, it feels, I don't know if we'll have any good evidence for it, that it's publicly available, but yeah. Just jump in real quick with this kind of stranger video. My thought on this use is that this is the wrong use of AI-generated video because it takes away, it just makes people not trust anything that's on video. And I feel like we're really based in a society that relies on video for a lot of forms of communication. I'm happy this video came out, though, because it will start conversations and hopefully it will put pressure on the proper regulators and people who can actually, change something. Yeah, that's all. And then we've been questions and answers throughout the live stream. Hopefully they were answered. The mirror is be cautious, more cautious when you're looking through videos, and if possible, react to a video that you're seeing. Just run it through your head that, hey, there's a chance it could be completely synthetic, and I guess you just know that moving forward. Oh yeah, another from Rashab says, which are the new AI tools that we should learn? Just every one of them. Well, sorry, let me be more practical. I would say use the ones you're comfortable using. When you say which are the new AI tools, it's just like they're coming out every 30 seconds now. There's like a new every 30. It feels like every 30 seconds for me. So I don't think it makes sense to even say which one, which are AI tools. It's like, in my opinion, if you want to have literacy in this area, you just have to be using all of them regularly and then creating your own opinions and your own use cases. That's how you think you should move forward with AI tools. If you're like, which tools do I need to learn? That was in the world where we weren't generating new tools every 30 seconds. So, in fact, I would almost want to reframe what you said from, instead of learning which are the new AI tools, you should learn how to be adaptable. Like, it's not a which AI tool anymore. It's about how can you learn how to learn fast and learn how to adapt. That's a better tool than a specific AI tool at this point. Oh, we got another question from Hug3D. Says, what about the poisoning of the internet more and more with synthetic data like this fake videos, AI videos, and AI text? And yeah, you can do that. I mean, yeah. I don't know what are you saying. I guess I don't understand what your context is with that, Hug3D. You said, what about the poisoning of the internet? More and more with synthetic data. AI revolution, we can learn quite a lot from synthetic data, even in our heads. Like, let's pretend earlier humans, pre-electricity. Sorry, let's go even further back. Pre-agriculture. We're still mostly hunter-gatherer humans. I know it sounds like a weird spot to go to, but this is what I had in my head. I think of synthetic data as what we can imagine as a possible future outcome. So if we were like an early who was found in a bush, and then imagined what could be in that bush, that's synthetic data. That didn't happen, in my opinion. Like what there could happen is actually just a simulated result. I would say even though it's synthetic, you can still learn a lot, because let's say they said that it was probably a predator in the bushes that's going to harm them. That synthetic thought could actually be very, very beneficial. Learning of the person who had that synthetic thought, who can then be like, oh, maybe I won't go near the bush because there might be a tiger in that bush, right? And that idea was synthetic. There was no proof or concrete evidence that it was for sure going to be a tiger. It could have just as well been food. It could have been prey. It could have been something that this early human needed to consume to survive. So in both cases, in my mind, like when it imagines a possible, or kind of like things might go, that, in my opinion, is a form of synthetic data. So I don't think that synthetic data inherently poisons itself. If anything, it's how you use that synthetic data. Because if the synthetic data that it's going to be a tiger every time, then that hunter-gatherer might go hungry. But then if they under-synthesize that it was going to be a tiger and it's always going to be food, well, then that hunter-gatherer might not live long enough to pass on their genes to another generation, because they would be like, I didn't think it was going to be a tiger. Why would it be a tiger? So in both of those scenarios, whether you thought it was food or whether you thought it was a predator, I think that form of synthetic data, and I feel like it doesn't poison the mind. If anything, you can a lot from synthetic data over and over. In fact, you might even be able to learn faster with it, because if you can synthesize more possible outcomes, and then a method of filtering which ones you would rely on others, then you're not poisoning your mind. You're actually possibly enhancing it. We got a question from the Dork Knight. Might says, haha, autocorrect goofed my careful not to spill the beans comment. Oh, okay, no worries. The Dark Knight writes, Hug 3D, you referring to the dead internet theory? Hug says, will we reach time that we killed the internet with fake synthetic data and killed knowledge via search and only via asking AI models? It's possible if we were just going to be increasingly more AI dependent. But I think there's going to be a pushback from a lot of these technologies, clearly, right? And we're pushback. And if there's going to be a pushback, maybe we go back to people wanting to share information again, back to in person, and like knowledge sharing tradition, speaking it. There might be a push to that. Not for everybody, but I think we're going to kind of splinter in different realities now. So yeah, that's a fun one. The Dork Knight writes, organic computers walking the earth. That's a fun way of thinking of humans. I like that. Nintendo Lady writes, Kara is an app artists are going to that poisons images so AI cannot scan or scrape their art. One artist recently won a copyright lawsuit where the art was copied and sold over 20,000 times. That's great. That's great. Artists in that situation. And I'm happy there's an app like Kara that exists for artists to go to kind of be trained without their consent. I like that. I don't know if that is going to be sustainable for the whole world, but I think that's awesome that it exists. I like that there's options. Again, in my mind, I like that there's people can go on. We got another question from Malik C. Writes, heard from the Mind Valley AI Summit also this week that it's better to develop a system of processes that can be adjusted for the use of various AI programs to fulfill your objectives. That's kind of what I'm leaning into. Like I come from constellation of AI models and tools and pipelines. So I create a bunch of different AI systems now. Some are custom GPTs, some are custom AI scripts, some are Python, and I create all these different tools. And then I create processes around them where I'm kind of overseeing and interactions between them. I like that approach because it for me is just allowing me to work more efficiently and spend more time outside and a lot more time with my loved ones. So like I'm gonna keep doing that. That just makes sense to me. But if it like it was taking away from my experience of life and make miserable, then I would do that. You know, I would. But yeah, let me see. I was about to recap everything. But yeah, I think good. Thank you all so much for tuning into this random live stream that we just jumped into. I'm hoping that, you know, I don't know. I'm hoping that just this can start the conversations needed, and then maybe we go from there. If you're into, my whole goal is to inspire innovators and developers through creativity. So I will try to do stuff that's creative with the goal of inspiring innovative people and developers. I think that the innovators and the developers are the people that actually have the most power in shaping the future that I want to see. So that's why I would hope to inspire them. But it has been a challenge recently with these AI tools, because for some people they inspire them, but for others it depletes them of their hope. So it's been a little bit weird, territory. Believing in a hybrid model where I want to use these tools, but I'm not going to use them for everything. I think it's important for myself to come up with a set of standards of when will I use AI and when will I not. And I'm also thinking that everyone should come up with those standards for themselves. And then society should come up with those. Countries, towns, cities, faculties, families. I think they should all create their own set of standards and practices and then go with that. Oh, we got one more. Oh, it's Dork Knight says, up prayer hand emojis, thank you. And Where Eyes Take says, cool, always interesting info. And Hug 3D writes, love this talk. Worried about it for a long time now. And Nintendo Lady writes, great combo done. Thank you all so much, and have a creative and productive day. I'll probably do another live stream later with some fun creative tool. But until then, I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.